Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Popo here, bringing guys a new video, and today we're gonna make some predictions and hot takes about Liverpool Regionals. Let's go. Welcome, everybody, and today we're going to be talking about the Liverpool Regionals that are coming up this weekend. Last weekend we saw a fantastic Regionals over in Charlotte where Wolf Glick was able to take the victory. Wolf Glick ain't going this time, so he cannot get the double, but it's going to be really interesting to see how Wolf Glick's team, or even the top four teams, have affected the overall meta that's going to go into it. Usually Europe has a slightly different meta than we do, so it's going to be really interesting to see how those metas, adapt, and it's just going to be really, really cool. I'm really excited about it. It starts super early in the morning, so it's going to be a good time, but we're going to do what we always do. We're going to try to predict some stuff. We got some hot takes. I got some underrated Pokemon, so let's get right into it. Of course, you guys already know it's Fluttermane, right? I mean, it's Fluttermane. We're going to put it at 67. I think this thing is going to be everywhere. It just won. It won the last two. It's the best Pokemon in the game. So, of course, it's just going to be everywhere. So, we got Fluttermane up first. All right, and then we're going to start from the back here. At 22%, Ogerpon Fire. I think with the results of the finals of last week, Ogerpon Fire is gonna raise, right? Ogerpon Water was top. It was the number 2 used Pokemon, and we're gonna see this sneak in. This was able to win with Ogerpon Water being that number 2 Pokemon. So Ogerpon Fire, here he comes. He's ready for it. At the number 5 slot, we got Urshifu Dark. I still believe in Urshifu Dark over Urshifu Water. I think it's way better right now. It does a lot more into the meta, and this Pokemon is just really, really good. We've seen results from it. Though, Urshifu Water did win with Wolf's team. It was very specific. It was very specific to his team. All right, so number 4, we're going to see Farigiraf. Farigiraf had an amazing showing. I think it's going to be on 28 to 35% of teams. I think this Pokemon is really good. It stops the spam of Chien-Pao and Dragonite. It just sets up Trick Room. It's a late game ender, and with Wolf's set being out there, it is also a pretty good attacker. So Farigiraf, I think, will be up in the top 4. Next, we have Ogerpon Water. I think this thing is still going to be good, of course. It's not going to be up to the par that it was previously, but combined with Ogerpon Fire, these two are going to be, on half of the teams. So just second to Fluttermane. And last but not least, rising from the ashes, some people would say, Incineroar. Of course, he was pretty decent usage-wise, but going into day 2, he wasn't really that great. And then, Wolf was able to actually win with it. So I think it's going to see a huge rise in usage. Incineroar taking that number 2 slot. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Wolf Glick's exact team being ran at this Regionals by somebody who does end up topping. So, yeah, this is the top 6, I think. We got 2 Ogerpon forms. And I think right outside of this, we're going to see Urshifu Water, Tornadus. Maybe even Indeedee again. We might see some more Psy Spam, since Psy Spam seems to be pretty decent still. But that'll be right outside of these usages. Alright, now let's go into the underused Pokemon. We got some interesting ones here. I'm keeping on the Tyranitar train. You know what? He's been there every week. He has been doing decent. I think he's a really good anti-meta Pokemon. But somebody just needs to crack the code, I think. Somebody just needs to crack the code. This Pokemon is really good. Thundurus as well, I'm sticking with. I think this Pokemon is pretty good. It doesn't really do much against the Urshifu Dark, but it does a lot into the rest of the meta, especially with the dropping of Raging Bolt and stuff like that. It gives the electric type another usage. And then we're going to start right over here. We got Weezing. Yeah, I think Weezing could be pretty decent. It stops a lot of what Urshifu can do, never mind a lot of the other Pokemon, and how their abilities are very important, like Farigiraf. It's able to, you know, not only taunt Farigiraf, but allow priority moves to be used at the same time. So really good. And then we got a Iron Bundle. I think the speed of teams is either increasing or very much decreasing, and I think this is the time where Iron Bundle could come in, maybe with some Icy Winds. We've been seeing some Fluttermanes with Icy Winds, but maybe Iron Bundle is the call. It does a lot into Entei, it does a lot into Incineroars, so it's able to take them out, as well as putting pressure on a lot of the other different Pokemon. I think we could see a bit of a rise, or at least a good result from it. And then Regidrago, he fell off at the last regional. I think people are going to throw it on again, maybe with some Psy Spam stuff. I think this Pokemon's still good. And yeah, if we see Entei starting to drop off and Incineroar coming back a little bit more, then this Pokemon is going to be a lot better, since it'll be able to hit a lot harder than it does into the Entei. So those are my underrated mons. Come on, Tyranitar, don't let me down for a third week in a row, third regionals in a row. All right, let's get to some hot takes. Okay, so my hot takes last week weren't super great. They weren't the best, but our underrated mons were pretty good. So hot takes, number one, Farigiraf will not be in the top 4. I think a lot of people are going to prep for Farigiraf. I think this is going to make it so Farigiraf gets definitely top 8. I think there might be 2 in top 8, but I don't think it's going to get to top 4, because I think there's going to be so many in the field that the people at the top are going to have counters to the Farigiraf. And don't get me wrong, Farigiraf might be the counter to Farigiraf, and we might see all of them in top 4, but that is my number 1 hot take. Number 2, Smeargle gets top 4. Smeargle had a pretty good showing, number 6, I believe, and it did pretty well, so I think Smeargle could take a top 4 at some point, and this could be the one. Next, someone from the UK wins the whole thing. I think going into their home country, it gives them a good chance to win the whole thing. You know, they could be well rested, unlike some of the people traveling from much further away. So I think somebody from the UK is going to win it, whether that be from, you know, England itself, Wales, you know, Ireland, well, Ireland's on it, North Ireland is now, or Scotland. I think somebody from the UK is going to take this victory. And my last hot take, Incin drops out of the top 8 usage. I think going into day 2, it's going to drop to number 9, maybe number 10 in usage. I think there's going to be a lot of counterplay out there for Wolf's team specifically, which by happen chance also kind of just counters Incin in general. So I think that might be what happens to Incineroar, and it drops out of the top 8. That's the hottest of the takes, because it's possible Incin just dominates this tournament like it kind of did last week. So, but that's kind of my predictions, my underrated mons, and my hot takes. Come back on Monday when we go for a recap of the whole regionals. We'll talk about it, and we'll have a good time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.